Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. The Joker. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, the Joker is the scariest, most ruthless, evilest villain of all time. And I just don't mean in the movies or TV shows or even in the superhero world. He's just the best villain of all time. Every time I think of a bad guy, just in general, the first person that pops in my head is the Joker. Everything from the way he acts, the way he talks, and even the laugh. But how did the Joker get to be like this? Well, you know me, I like to go on good old Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, just to start things off, and let's see what they got to say. The Joker is a supervillain created by Bill Finger, Bob Kane, and Jerry Robinson, who first appeared in the debut issue of the comic book Batman, April 25th, 1940, published by DC Comics. Credit for the Joker's creation is disputed. Kane and Robinson claim responsibly for the Joker's design, while acknowledging Finger's writing contribution. Although the Joker was planned to be killed off during his initial appearance, he was spared by editorial intervention, allowed the character to endure as the archenemy of the superhero Batman. Well, thank God they didn't kill him off, because it just would have been a complete waste of time. We all know that. I mean, you look at just the character himself of the Joker. I mean, there's no way a guy like that could just be easily killed off. I mean, he's just too good to, or in this case, too evil just to kill off. But anyways, in his comic book appearances, the Joker is portrayed as a criminal mastermind, introduced as a psychopath with a warped, sadistic sense of humor. The character became a goofy prankster in the late 1950s in response to regulation by the Comics Code Authority, before returning his darker roots during the early 1970s as Batman's nemesis. The Joker has been a part of the superhero's defining stories, including the murder of Jason Todd, the second Robin, and Batman's ward, and the paralysis of one of Batman's allies, Barbara Gordon. The Joker has had various possible origin stories during his decades of appearances. The most common story involves him falling into a tank of chemical waste that bleaches his skin and turns his hair green and lips bright red. The resulting disfigurement drives him insane. The antithesis of Batman in personality and appearance, the Joker is considered by critics to be his perfect adversary. Well, can't disagree with that. I mean, let's just look at the whole Joker look here. I mean, first of all, one thing that's just obvious. I mean, when you think of a villain in any comic book or just in general, but especially comic book world there, whatever, usually these guys have like superpowers, or they, attach themselves to a machine or something and gives them cool legs or whatever the fuck. I mean, Joker's got none of that. Joker's got a cool, couple toys he plays with, and, a couple things he uses as weapons, obviously, but he's got no superpowers. So here you have a guy who's already, in many ways, powerless, and he's facing off against another guy, Batman, who also doesn't have any superpowers. So right off the bat, you got two guys who are just depending on their minds and who can really top the other person. You got one person who's been through a lot of shit in his childhood. Of course, the Joker, I'm sure, went through some shit as well, but he's just more psychotic. So you got one guy who wants to help another guy, but the other guy doesn't give a shit. He's just, He just wants to get revenge on this guy and just not even kill him, just always face off against him and just prove to him that he's the better person. He's the smarter guy. No superpowers involved, just the mind. And of course, his razor-tipped playing cards, the deadly joy buzzards, and acid spraying lapel flowers, which are all classic gags of a clown. And that's basically what the Joker is. He's just a clown. He's the scariest clown I've ever seen. I remember growing up on WGN, the Chicago channel. They used to play Bozo the Clown. And I mean, again, like the scariest clown I saw during that time period too was, when Stephen King did It. And, of course, they revamped that series. And, like, what is it about clowns that are so scary, I mean, usually when you see a clown, you think birthday party. You think of the classic scene from Uncle Buck when he punches him in the face for being a little too raunchy and shit-faced and, calling him a sore sack of shit. Well, you know what he said. But it almost gives these guys carte blanche to get away with whatever the fuck they want. You see, when you're in disguise, you can get away with so much more shit. Ask Mr. Will Ferrell there when he's dressed up as Ron Burgundy. Or ask Eddie Murphy when he dresses up as a Nutty Professor. I mean, you just get away with way more shit. I know these are all just, characters in movies. And so is the Joker, obviously. But when you're in disguise, you just can be whoever you want to be. So on top of that, not only is he in disguise, but he's evil. And on top of that, he's in disguise as a happy character, or it should be a happy character. Because when you think of clowns, you think of the circus, you think of the big red nose, you just think of them, making animal balloons and shit. I mean, that's it. Just simple stuff. I mean, you don't expect them to go on a killing spree or, spray people in the face with their poison flower. I mean, it's just not expected. So right there alone, he's got the element of surprise, which is always what a lot of bad guys want. They want to do evil things, but they don't want people to know that they're going to do evil things. They do things right in front of your face, and deep down they know that their intentions are evil. Sometimes it's because of what happened to them in their past lives. Sometimes it's just because they're just nuts. Some toys just come out of the factory broken. There's nothing you can do about it. And then you look at his devilish smile. Devilish? Red? Coincidence? No way. I mean, that was just perfectly planned. I mean, they say, okay, everything changed, when he fell accidentally in the acid there, and it totally changed his skin, his hair, his lips, his dark eyes, whatever. But I mean, the first thing when you think of red is the devil. And when you think of the devil, you think evil. And again, like, it's an element of surprise in the sense where you always see him smiling, like a joker, like a clown, and it's just like you don't expect. Again, the element of surprise, like you don't expect someone like that to smile like that and yet be so psychotic. So again, it's the complete opposite of what you're expecting. And it just adds to, again, the persona that is, the Joker's face and costume and all that. And even the actual suit, like it's purple. They say in literature, purple is the color of love. A lot of people always think it's red, but red is more lust. Purple is love. And the whole look with the Joker, first of all, he's got a hell of a suit on. I mean, you're not going to miss that suit from a mile away. So he obviously wants to be seen, And I have this theory, apparently one of the two looks where they got the persona of Joker from is one, the obvious, from a deck of cards. When you see the Joker face, I mean, it's pretty obvious there. That's why I just assumed they got it from. But also there's a movie that came out in 1928 called The Man Who Laughs. Now, it's a silent film, which I always found kind of ironic because if you just look at the Joker, I mean, just his look alone, like he doesn't even have to say anything, and you can tell like this guy's just like he's just out there. And the movie's just based on this guy who is part of a carnival, and he falls in love with this woman who's blind. And once again, it kind of gives you this idea where, he doesn't know, like if this woman would love her, if, she really knew what he looked like, which again, gives him more power to do whatever he wants. I mean, she's just in love with him because just the way he is, I guess. It's pretty much how the Joker later on got Harley Quinn. Now, Harley Quinn is a former psychiatrist who tried to help the Joker and now helps the Joker as her assistant. So I don't know at this point if the Joker's just got insane game or all the women that Joker meets are fucking nuts. But either way, there is a part of the Joker that all he really wants is love and acceptance. And I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much into this with the whole purple suit and everything, but when you're a villain, you usually think of like dark colors and, you don't think of these over exaggerated suits, so there's got to be something more to that. Maybe he's getting his design tips from Don Cherry. I have no idea. The point is, this guy absolutely wants to be seen, and a lot of villains don't want to be. So it's either one of two things. Either he wants people to love him, or he just truly doesn't give a fuck. Or maybe it's both. Even the name, his real name, Jack Napier. I hope I'm saying that right. Napier, it's British. I tried to look up, everyone knows Jack. Jack's a pretty common name. Jack, Joker, Jack Nicholson, Joaquin Phoenix. We got a lot of similarities there. But anyways, closest thing I could find was the British surname Napier is derived from an occupational name for someone who sold or produced table linen. Now, right there, when you look at his suit, does it not look like a tablecloth? Maybe that's where they got the idea. I don't know. Who knows? Or for a Napier, which was a servant who was responsible for the washing and storage of linen in a medieval household. Okay. What I always remember about the medieval times is that to entertain the king or queen, they always had a court jester. Now, the court jester always looked like the Joker, which was represented in a deck of cards. So I don't know, maybe this is all connected. I don't know. Who knows? But it is a interesting coincidence because a lot of these things do relate to one another. And there was an author, Alan Moore, in 2008, and he did a novel called The Killing Joke. And in the origin story from 1951, they portrayed the Joker as a failed comedian, pressured into committing crime as a Red Hood to support his pregnant wife. And again, the whole comedian thing, being a jester. So the whole essence of just the Joker is just to entertain people. But I'm sure him falling into a chemical vat and his wife dying earlier of an accidental death, which I'm sure will not help things at all. Now, the essence of the Joker, we all know the story. Like everything I just said, you guys pretty much know. If you follow the comics, if you follow the movies even, you know the story. I don't have to go deep into it. But the whole concept of this is that when bad things happen to you in life, you either got two choices. You can either move forward or you can move back. And unfortunately, the Joker just went insane and he took it out on the wrong people. Which is why a lot of people always are afraid of, when a new Joker movie comes out, they're like, oh my God, is something going to happen? Are people going to freak out? Are people going to start rioting or something? But the essence of the Joker is just to remind you of when things go bad in life, don't take it out on people that don't deserve it. Don't go insane. Do not treat other people the way you've been treated, because those people had nothing to do with your insecurities, none of the bad things that happened to you. And the essence of it is you just have to move on. I know it's tough, especially, the stuff he went through. But a lot of people went through a lot of other shit as well. And I get it, guys. It's a story. It's just meant to entertain. But a lot of people don't know that. Perfect example of that is what happened when The Dark Knight came out. And that fucking prick, just went into the theater and started shooting. And from what I'm told is people were just, seeing a late night screening. I think it was like a midnight show or something like that, because this is the anticipation. Like people just couldn't wait to see this movie. And at first they saw a bunch of like smoke bombs or something like that. And they just thought it was part of the show. And then all of a sudden this guy just comes in there and he just starts blasting. And these bullets were so powerful that they went through the other wall and they went through the other movie theater. And, luckily they did get him. Apparently what I heard was this guy was dressed like the cops or SWAT, whatever, like exactly. But he was missing one piece on his uniform. And one of the guards recognized it. And he told everyone else, he's like, this guy's not with us. And that's how they got him. So, I don't know if you see this guy in court. I mean, I don't know if this guy's nuts. I don't know if this guy's, playing the innocent card now because he got caught. I mean, who the fuck knows? But I mean, like shit like this has just got to stop. I mean, guys, you got to realize this is just a fucking movie. It's a TV show. It's a character. It's a comic book, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's not real life, guys. Okay? The essence of the Joker, like I said, it almost should be like a reminder to people of what not to be, not what you can be. Okay? So, if you have something wrong with you, if you feel, lonely or whatever, just, have the balls to get help. Okay? It doesn't take balls to go into a fucking theater and shoot innocent people for no reason, for someone that just wants to see a movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, even when I saw the recent Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, there was a part of me, like, as I was watching the movie, I'm like, is someone gonna come in here and do some stupid shit? And, is this it? Or, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you gotta wonder, right? I mean, like, I didn't think about it that much, but at the same time, I mean, you do wonder, It's getting to a point now where, you see a movie and now you got to fear for your life. Like, really? I mean, the essence of making movies is just so you can entertain people, not scare them. I mean, unless you're making a scary movie, but, you shouldn't have to worry about that shit. And I hope people just keep in mind that the Joker is a fictional character. He's not real. There's never been a person like this in history. Even if there has been, it's probably some kind of loser who has no idea what reality is. And you should know better. And if you feel you're that type of person, like I said, don't go out there and blame the world for your problems. Go get help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. So just keep that in mind. Enjoy the movie for what it's worth. And also keep in mind, for any of you future Joker wannabes, keep in mind, I'm not just saying this to sound poetic or nothing, but the Joker is a villain. and he always gets caught. Now, how did the Joker end up like he is? Well, we already discussed the whole his wife being murdered, him falling into the acid. I mean, he even says here before he was a lab assistant, which is kind of funny because Jack Nicholson apparently he did a lot of movies before where he was like working in a lab, an assistant there. So I mean, they don't know. Like they go back and forth on the character. I mean, like they even say at one point they say sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice. And again, we have no idea who the Joker is. And that adds even more mystery to the character. More why we're so fascinated with this guy. Like everyone's just trying to figure out like who the fuck this guy is and why does he act like this. And we've seen many different versions on TV. We've seen it in cartoons. We've even seen it in the movies. And that's what we're listening to this podcast because that's what we want to talk about. We want the Malaka to break down all these characters. So, I mean, it's going to take me forever to review all the comics and cartoons. I'm going to skip over a lot of that. I mean, no disrespect to the people that did all that shit, but I only got so much time to do a podcast. And, of course, we're going to talk about major actors that portrayed the Joker as their own. But before we do that, I'd like to give a shout out, or as they say in the business, some honorable mentions to a couple people. Now, obviously, I'm half Greek, so I have to give a shout out to Zach Galifianakis, who portrayed the Joker in the Lego Batman movie. Now, again, I was a big Lego kid growing up. I love it. I'm jealous of kids today that are playing with Legos because before they were very generic. They all had the same face. I've literally seen Legos that they made from Shaun of the Dead. So they make Legos out of anything now. And of course, everybody was waiting for the Batman movie to come out. Lego Batman movie. And he was good. I liked him. You know, for a Lego Batman, it's what I expected. So, just wanted to give a shout out. Now, another guy I'd like to give a shout out to is an actor named Cameron Monaghan. I hope I'm saying that right. The only thing I've really seen this guy in, other than him playing the Joker on the Gotham series, which is obviously based on Batman, on the Fox network. It just ended recently. I thought it was pretty good. He was on Shameless, or he still is on Shameless, or I don't know. You have to watch the show to, I don't know, get that. But anyways, I thought he did a great job with the role. And there's the one episode where they pretty much introduce him as the Joker, and you know, he pulls a 180 really quick. You know, he goes from, you know, the normal guy to the Joker with just the face. And, you know, it's tough shoes to fill, man. I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, I just want to say that as a side note. I mean, like, to be the Joker, I mean, to keep reinventing that role, like, it seems like every, whatever, 10, 15 years, you know, it's a really tough thing to do. And, Gotham got a lot of shit for like not being, you know, as authentic, and I don't know, man. I liked it. I didn't mind it. Like I thought all the villains in this show were great, and you know, I mean, this is after you know, Heath Ledger, obviously, and you know, again, it's big shoes to fill, but I think he did a pretty good job. I thought the makeup was good. You know, it wasn't anything too serious. You know, it was a little, you know, funny at times as well. They play the way they played the role, but yeah, I thought it was all right. I mean, so yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. And of course, what a lot of people always talk about, and they love to give this guy shit. I don't know why. Jared Leto playing the Joker in Suicide Squad. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, is it the best Joker of all time? Obviously not. Is it the worst Joker of all time? I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen all the cartoons and whatever. So, but I mean, it looked all right. I mean, the problem with this role, and this is the first thing you got to say, is it wasn't anything like super psychotic. It wasn't anything like I don't know. I mean, it was kind of like, I mean, they were kind of like trying to decide like, okay, should we make this like more of a funny role, more of a serious role? I mean, the essence of the Suicide Squad movie was, it had its serious moments and whatever, but it was more jokey. And I mean, the movie itself was all right. I mean, if anybody can explain to me though, at the end of the movie, how they killed the woman. I've asked numerous people this. I still can't figure this shit out. Nobody can apparently. But yeah, the movie itself was all right. I mean, and the Joker. The first thing that I can tell you, the look wise, is that I think they tried too hard to make him look psychotic instead of him being psychotic. I mean, and what I mean by that is like, you just look at him, like, all the tattoos, and I don't know, he's constantly got his top off, and I don't know, like, I mean, Leto almost looks like a male model in this, and it's just, and let's be honest, guys, like, are we really scared of a model? If we see the Joker, walking down the runway, like, are we going to be terrified of him? Not really. So I think the look wise, it just didn't work. And a lot of people always give shit to Jared Leto, like I said before. I don't know why. I mean, the guy's a rock star. He does acting. I mean, the guy's done some cool movies. I mean, the guy won an Academy Award, So, he's proven himself as an actor. I did hear that he did send every cast member dead animals. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's, I guess he did that to, make the people hate him more, I guess, for the role. Okay, all right. I'm Greek. I don't know, if you send me any animal, I'm just going to fry it up and cook it up. But yeah, it is what it is. You do what you got to do to prepare for a role, I guess. But yeah, like I said, like, I think the main thing is just the actual look, It's almost like it's really trying to be scary, but it's just like kind of, I don't know, like it's sort of funny at the same time. I don't know. I don't think it's that scary. I don't know. And I don't know. It's not really Leto's fault. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it was too soon after Leisure. I don't know. I mean, just to me, it just didn't work. That's all. So. But don't be so hard on the guy. I mean, I don't know. He tried. What are you going to do? I mean, if you get a chance of playing the Joker, you going to turn that shit down? No, of course not. So, and yes, I also like to give a shout out to Mr. Mark Hamill. Now, for years, in the early 90s, they had the great Batman cartoon, the animated series. I loved it. It was great. It was dark. It was just a cool cartoon, And I didn't know for years that Mark Hamill did the voice. I mean, now I hear it since, I know the name. And yes, I am aware that Mark Hamill did Star Wars and all that shit. You guys know how I feel about Star Wars, okay? I'm not going to get into this shit again. But the voice was definitely on point. It reminded me of another great Joker, Mr. Cesar Romero. Now, back in the day, they were just introducing Batman from the comics to TV. They didn't know what to do, so, they made it more jokey and, the piff, pam, poom, and all that shit, whatever. And the greatest thing about Cesar Romero is that he refused to shave his mustache. And clearly, when you watch him in the scene, he's got the white makeup on. You can clearly see his mouth go one way and the mustache go the other. So, back then, actors actually had balls, and they would say, hey, I'm not going to shave. Go fuck yourself. Yeah. Especially reminds me of the whole Superman thing. I don't know. Didn't they want him to shave, and he didn't, and it ended up costing him like $3 million or something. Oh, someone made a good point. I don't know, just give him $1 million to shave, and I don't know. I don't like shaving either, guys, but I don't know, for $1 million, I don't know. I'll shave my eyebrows. I don't give a fuck. The point is, and I'm Greek too, so that means a lot. The point is, he played a great Joker as well. Again, more cartoony. So the whole Mark Hamill thing with the cartoon was kind of playing off the whole Cesar Romero thing, I felt. And, they both played great Jokers. So, just wanted to throw those guys out there, in case you forgot. Check them out. It's old school. Na 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 na. Batman. Okay, playtime's over. You guys already know what 3 people I'm going to talk about, and again, I'm going to say this right now. This is in no specific order. I'm trying to go from, past to present. So I don't want people to say shit later on and go, oh, you rank it as this 3, eh? No, fuck off, okay? I'm just doing it as is, okay? Shut up. So let's mention one of my favorite actors of all time, one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time. We're going to get into that in another podcast. But for now, we're talking about the great, the one and only Jack Nicholson. Now, for those of you who don't know who Jack Nicholson is, you can go fuck yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself too, because Jack Nicholson is one of the best actors of all time. When you want to talk about old school actors, just charisma up the ass, just a guy who really just didn't give a fuck, just did things his way. And even when he took the role as the Joker in the great Tim Burton directed Batman movie, he not only wanted, to do it, of course, but he also wanted points. Now, I believe actors did this before, but not like Jack. He wanted a certain percentage of the movie's gross. And I'm not exactly sure how much he got paid. I'm sure it was a nice little piece, but I think overall he made about 65 million, including points. And after this, it basically became a trend. So it kind of gave you an idea of how big Jack Nicholson was at the time. And what he did with this role was excellent. He took a little bit from the TV show, made it a little bit funny, but at the same time, made it psychotic as well. The one scene where, obviously, he's facing off against Batman for the first time, just not as the Joker, just, a plain hood who is just trying to make some money, accidentally falls in the acid, like I mentioned before. And of course, he wants to get his face fixed. Obviously, he can't go to the police. He's wanted there. So he goes to some random guy who's got these random tools from 1950. And it's just great. Like, he's got them all wrapped up. He's kind of got like an Elephant Man thing going there. Meets the mummy, and he's just unraveling himself, and the mirror. And he just walks off, and he's just like giggling like a schoolgirl. Like, it's funny, but it's like, it's just nuts at the same time. Like at this point, he just doesn't give a shit. Like, again, like, he's just, I think he's just happy to be alive, and he just loves the way he looks. But of course, like every bad guy that got fucked over by a bigger bad guy, he has to get revenge. And of course, he goes to the big mob boss there, City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. And he's just firing away at him, shooting him like he's fucking Swiss cheese. And what's great about this scene, again, is they play the carnival music. So again, the whole circus theme, the whole clown thing. And he's putting his arms up like he's performing in front of a crowd like you would at a circus. And at the end of it, he just laughs and just says, what a day. And of course, he sits down at the desk, He's reading the newspaper about Batman and delivers probably the most iconic line in the movie. He just gives that classic Joker smile and says, "Wait till they get a load of me." And again, I didn't point this out before, but he looks just like the classic Joker. Green hair, the smile, the makeup, the suit, all looks the same. He plays the role very cool. There's nothing really super psychotic about it. It's more comical. There's some parts where it reminds you of like Cesar Romero, but for the most part, it's pretty chill. You can see a lot of like Jack Nicholson in there as well. Just his persona, his confidence just being there. Even when the girlfriend enters the room there, he's just chilling, having a martini. She faints. I thought one of the funniest parts is when he's trying to just drink the actual drink. It kind of just stops. Like you can't even drink with a smile like that. And then the next scene, he just uses the old hand buzzer there and kills a guy and basically roasts him to death. Dusty! Haven't you ever heard of the healing power of laughter? Even after those great words of wisdom, he's still arguing with a guy who's basically a roasted marshmallow. And again, he just leaves the scene just laughing his ass off. Even in the next scene, he uses a simple feather pen to kill somebody. And at this point, Batman realizes that this is the guy who killed his parents. I forgot to mention that before. The Joker allegedly killed Batman's parents when he was just a kid. But then a lot of people say it was someone that was similar to the Joker. Again, adding to the mystery, is there another Joker out there? Is there multiple Jokers out there? Who knows? Either way, this town needs an enema. But to appear more normal to everyone else, he puts on the skin makeup so he looks like a natural human being. Love that Joker. But who doesn't love the Joker? Vicky Vale. But he still tries to pursue her while dancing to Prince, which a lot of people think dates the movie, but I like it. Any chance I can see Jack Nicholson dance as the Joker, I'm for it. And we're all still wondering, where does he get these wonderful toys? And it doesn't matter that he's punching TVs with a special gun or shooting the TV like when Elvis saw Robert Goulet on it. It doesn't matter. He still is able to keep that comic relief that the audience needs. Nothing too psychotic, of course, but still playing it very cool, like Jack Nicholson always does. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Never rub another man's rhubarb. Now what's great is two classic lines. Again, there's so many classic lines that Jack Nicholson says in this movie. The first one is more like, a little psychotic, like, why the fuck would you say that? And then the next one is just a funny, raunchy joke. It's just back and forth. There's serious parts, there's funny parts. He played it perfect. It wasn't meant to be a psycho killer or anything like that. It was more just reminiscent of the TV show Batman, or even the comic books. Just not too over the top. But he still maintains he's a villain at heart. Even when he challenges Batman to show his face, I think he truly believes that Batman is the bad guy. And he wants everyone else to believe that Batman is the real bad guy and everybody should be against him. And they should be for the Joker. He even says a classic line, "I made you, you made me. This is how it's supposed to go." And he really does believe that, And there's no convincing him otherwise. But at the same time, he's not taking it seriously. I mean, like, he's got those wind up teeth falling out of his mouth. He puts on a pair of glasses, like he's just, the guy's truly psychotic. But the way Jack Nicholson played it, it was very comical as well. And everybody should know, if the Joker lends you a hand, it's not a real hand. I mean, Vicky Vale, you should have known better than that. And of course, Batman gets him just before he gets on the helicopter there with his Batman hook shot, whatever. And of course, Joker has the epic fall to the ground. But of course, in classic Joker fashion, he has to have the last laugh. So when he hits the pavement, all you hear is the laughter. And of course, it's just a simple recording that he put in his pocket before he fell to his death. And of course, it symbolizes that the Joker has to have the last laugh. Which is kind of ironic, because I tried to look up some information on what Jack Nicholson did to prepare for this role, and it doesn't seem like much. I mean, there's just one part where apparently he was getting ready for makeup, and he just sees Michael Keaton and he leans over and says, "Well, kid, it's time to go to work the suits." Which is just basically Jack Nicholson being Jack Nicholson. And yeah, sometimes you just have a great personality that you don't really have to change that much for a role. You can just be yourself. And that's what this Joker was. It was basically a combination of Jokers from the past and Jack Nicholson. Now, the next actor that played the Joker is the late, great Heath Ledger. Now, the first Batman movie, or the first real Batman movie, was in 1989. And the next one came out 2008. So almost 20 years later, we get another version of the Joker. And yeah, that's how long it took for us to, pass the torch, basically. I mean, when you have an iconic role like that, like the way Jack Nicholson played it, you can't just have someone right away take the next spot, like 5, even 10 years later. It takes a little while. So they wanted to make sure that they got this right. And when Christopher Nolan made The Dark Knight, originally, apparently he wanted Heath Ledger to play Batman. And he said, "I can't do it. I don't think I'd be good at it." And, he still liked him a lot from Brokeback Mountain. And he offered him the role as the Joker. And he took it. And he knew exactly what to do with it. Apparently, he locked himself in a hotel room for a month and made a diary entry for the role. He found a voice that he felt was very psychopathic, but then again, he acted very gracefully. It was very reminiscent to Jack Nicholson's. Like, again, it wasn't like, jumping all over the place like the original Batman in Adam West. But yeah, it was just very chill. Like, he was always in control, but at the same time, not giving a fuck about whoever got in his way, even the people that he worked with in the first scene. Right off the bat, it shows you that he's organized, and at the same time, all he cares about is himself. I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. The way Heath Ledger played this role was exactly what he had to do. Pretty much almost the opposite of what Jack Nicholson did. Just make it pure psychotic. And right off the bat, just that one line, you have no idea what he's thinking. It almost seems like he doesn't give a shit. And even he doesn't know who he is or what he believes in. When he goes, underneath the restaurant there and meets all the mobsters, I don't think he really even gives a shit if he lives or dies. Definitely would never offer him a pencil, that's for sure. But he's taunting everybody. He just doesn't care. Even the way he's dressed, it looks the same as the original Joker. Purple suit, green hair, red lips, same thing. Only the real difference is he looks more older. Like he's been through way more shit. Like he just doesn't care if he lives or dies. And the makeup, it's there. I mean, I was told that Heath Ledger did his own makeup. And that's not to say it doesn't look good. But the way it's done, it looks like it's been on his face for over a week. His character obviously wants to be covered up, but he just doesn't care about his overall appearance. Like, we're dealing with a Joker who is just there. Like, he doesn't, try to be suave or very well put together like the Jack Nicholson one. It's just there. It's almost like he's dressed himself up really quickly, and it's got nothing to do with the way he looks or if his suit is ironed. He just wants to be heard. And when you got a bunch of bombs strapped onto your suit, it's pretty obvious you'll be heard. Even when he tells the story for the first time, how he got the scars on his face. Why so serious? Let's put a smile on that face. Now he obviously tells this story again, but it's a different version. So he has no idea how he even got these scars. Maybe he does and he just blocks it out. Maybe he's just doing it just to fuck with people. You don't know. Again, it adds to the mystery of the Joker. Like Jokers in the past, he wants Gotham City to believe that Batman is the real villain. So he kidnaps somebody, makes a very disturbing video. At one point, it starts off a little jokey and whatever. Then he gets in that deep voice. Look at me! And you realize at that point, he's not fucking around. And when he looks into the camera and he laughs, ladies and gentlemen, I feel that that is the best Joker laugh of all time. He nailed the laugh. There's nobody that has done the laugh better than him. You see those yellow teeth, you see the smile, he just nailed it. And even Christopher Nolan knew that. Because right after that scene, there's like 10 seconds of silence. And there's a reason for that, because you're just taking it all in. You're like, holy shit. This guy is a psycho. He's not even afraid to throw somebody out a window. He's not even afraid to shoot somebody point blank in daylight without even his makeup on. But you do realize that he actually does have the scars. Because for a while there, like, you're not sure if he's just making that shit up or not, because you can't see it because of the makeup. But it's there. Like his suicidal mentality when he faced off against Batman in the street, which again is reminiscent to the first Batman when Jack Nicholson pulled out the long gun, aka represents who's got the biggest dick. But the difference is Jack Nicholson wanted to kill Batman. Heath Ledger, he didn't give a shit. Although it was pretty funny when he was about to unmask him and he said, "Can you just give me a minute?" Even Heath Ledger, when he was in jail, when he clapped for the new Commissioner Gordon, that was all improv. I also found it funny when he said, "You complete me." Now, I don't know if he's ripping off Jerry Maguire, but that's just funny. Also, at one point, he says, "I don't want to kill you." And then even later on, like, he knows he's got him. He's like, "You got nothing on me." But he still helps him out. Because to him, it's just nothing but a sick game. And he just wants to keep it going and going and going. It's not about money, it's about sending a message. Again, he just doesn't care. When he escapes from jail, there's no razor blade, cards. He's just using a plain old knife because he feels when he does that, he can actually see what the person's thinking before they die. Even when he's with Harvey Dent in the hospital, he even tells him as he gives him the gun, because once again, he doesn't care if he lives or dies. And you know the thing about chaos? It's fair. How the fuck is chaos fair? Like, this is how far gone this guy is. He just doesn't care about anything, not even himself. He's willing to blow up a hospital just to make a point. Which, by the way, when Heath Ledger pushed the button and he reacted, that didn't work right away. What really happened, I'm told, is the explosion was delayed. And of course, Heath Ledger only had one shot to get it right. And he just, again, improv'd, his reaction, and here we go. Even when the Joker tries to put the two boats against each other, who's gonna blow up who first, the Joker realizes that it's not gonna happen. And Heath Ledger gives a excellent facial expression. You could just see the pain in the Joker's face that he was wrong. And Batman just looks at him and goes, "You're alone." And that's what the Joker never realized. He thinks he's this powerful human being and that everyone will just go along with him. And they won't. Good will always triumph over evil. And even as the Joker gets thrown off the ledge there, again, reminiscent to the last Batman movie with Jack Nicholson, instead of the Joker dying and with the laugh device on him, he laughs on the way down, but is saved by Batman. I think you and I are destined to do this forever. Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. And of course, it just ends with the classic Joker laugh. Now keep in mind, he's upside down like a bat. Oh, the irony. And that's how it ends. So the Joker gets to live in this one. And who knows what could have happened. But all I know is Heath Ledger did exactly what he had to do for the role of the Joker and just played 100% psychotic. Sure, he threw in a couple funny one-liners here and there, but he knew exactly what he had to do. Couldn't make it comical. The role had to be taken seriously. And Heath Ledger, before he did this role, he did a lot of dramatic roles, some comedies. And let's face it, the ladies loved him. But he didn't want to be that pretty boy. He really wanted to be taken as a serious actor. And it's just a shame the way his life ended. And who knows what else he would have done. Apparently, he liked to make movies by himself. Just have fun with life. And that's pretty much the complete opposite of what the Joker represents. But to do a role like the Joker, you got to go to a really dark place. And when he did this role, he at one point did call Jack Nicholson. I don't know if he asked him for advice or whatever, but, he did give him a call. And, I'm sure they talked about the role, playing the Joker. And as soon as Heath Ledger died, they caught Jack Nicholson coming out of a restaurant, and they told him, Heath Ledger has passed away. And Jack Nicholson, being Jack Nicholson, he just kind of put his arms out and said, I warned him. And it's just a shame that, people have to die for their craft. And, it's really sad that it has to come down to this. And, nobody deserves to die for a role. I mean, actors are out there to entertain us, and, some of them take the job so seriously that they just get lost in the role. And mentally, it's hard for a lot of them to get out of that mentality of being a certain character for months on end. And I'm not saying this is what killed Heath Ledger, but it it takes a lot out of you. And at times, if you feel that you can't handle it, I mean, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with admitting that. I mean, it's just not worth dying for. It really isn't. And if you need to talk to somebody, and if you really feel that you need a break for a while from something, then it's okay too. I mean, the character of the Joker is being portrayed in so many different ways, from comical to psychotic. And, in the future, I'm sure it'll be portrayed as something different as well. Look what Joaquin Phoenix did with his role. I would like to talk about it in the next podcast. You see, I can keep this dance going like the Joker does. That's all the Joker cares about, is just keeping it going. Just like Michael Caine said in the movie, some men just want to watch the world burn. And it's very sad to think that. But again, keep in mind, it's just a fictional character. He does not exist. There's no reason for you to act like this man. And if you feel like you do have to lash out against the world, don't. Because the world has done nothing to you. In the end, it's your fault. And you can't blame anybody else but yourself. And it's stupid to think that you could blame a comic book character they call the Joker